Diddy is apparently planning a party. He's planning a get out of jail party. He's planning a not guilty party, a not guilty white party, a freak off party. I don't know if it's going to be a freak off, but the rumors are it's going to be a big white party with a whole bunch of celebrities who may not actually show up. Yep. Welcome to Time to Talk. We're going to talk about the Diddy trial. I'm not sure if he's actually planning a party. It's just something I heard. A little birdie told me that it might be possible he's planning to get up, because I personally feel that the diddler is going to be home possibly the end of this week or maybe sometime next week, as the prosecution is wrapping up their final case sometime today. This is Monday, June 23rd, day, I think 29, 28 of the actual Diddy trial, if we're keeping count. They're either wrapping up today and tomorrow, and the defense apparently only requires 1 to 2 days. Because why? We'll get into it. Time to talk. Before we continue, hello, happy Monday, everyone following this trial. I know y'all like this is going to be a really big week. Subscribe if you've not yet subscribed, trying to grow the channel and keep things going. All right, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and let's get into the Diddy trial. Let's get into it. Here's my thing. I'm not going to go like I always tell y'all, drinking my black coffee morning, right? Not going to go through a line per line of all these little details that show up and all the sensational YouTubers who telling you all these tiny little deeds. I'm just going to give you this straight up. Right now, my personal opinion on this case is that Diddy's going to walk. And further, I'm going to say Diddy deserves to walk, period. That's what it comes down to. Look, if we want to make the case, as I've been saying, and the one thing that the prosecution did succeed in doing, it's making the case that this guy had a wild sex life, okay, as far as his own little, what he likes to do and how he gets down with his women, the people he either loves or he's using, whatever he's doing. That's surely the case, right? If you want to talk about baby oil and Astroglide and talk about candles and hotel rooms being set up and hotel rooms being destroyed and sheets being stained and, lips and curtains and stuff, everything being stained. You want to talk about that stuff? You want to talk about whether the man had a drug problem or if he used recreational drugs? You want to talk about whether he was an abusive SOB and he put hands to women and he had an anger issue and had a controlling side about him? I guess the prosecution made their case. They made their case, and Puff, Diddy, Sean Combs is guilty of those things. However, with that said, this man was not an sex trafficker, drug trafficker. This is not a RICO case. This is not an enterprise, a criminal enterprise where he organized a group of people to work on behalf of that enterprise, all in the interest of the enterprise, all coordinated, all with different roles and specific titles, all working together in a criminal conspiracy case, like to do all this racketeering and all this other stuff. It's not true. It's simply not true. This man had a wild life in terms of his access to being able to have that wild life, right? Being a billionaire celebrity mogul and who he was, he had the ability to get girls to do these things. Do I think that Cassie is a victim? To a certain degree, to a certain extent, yes. After hearing a full audio, actually, of her talking to her friend Sujit about that whole situation with the phone and what she saw on an iPad, what he saw allegedly, and her threatening to kill him, that swayed me a little further in the side of saying she's not as weak and innocent as we think. Also, a very lengthy amount of exchanges and text messages that I've seen where you can tell where her mind is. It's not love messages of just coercion and she's just hanging in there because she's fearful of her life or anything along those lines, or fearful of her tapes being leaked out. It's more than that. This was a toxic relationship between the two. As far as Jane Doe goes, aka victim number 2, aka Daphne, whatever, Fiddy's baby mama, she's just a straight up freak and a prostitute, period. I'm just going to say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Nowhere near victim. I don't know the point of her. From the prosecution standpoint, they're just painting a picture of here's another woman who went through multiple men, or multiple men went through her, and they tried to pin that on Diddy as being this guy who forced her to do all this stuff. Where there are times where She might have complained that, hey, I had 3 dudes run through me last night. Maybe today I don't feel like doing it. Did that ever happen? Yeah, of course. Were there ever times where maybe she was kind of getting tired of the situation? Why? Because she didn't get enough money, or she didn't get the thing she was looking for. So she was kind of like, yeah, I've been hanging in there, but I really want more. That's what happened with her. As far as this entire case, it is the prosecution's job. The burden is on them to prove beyond a reasonable doubt these charges, these federal charges that are against this man. And I'm sorry, but that jury, there's going to at least be 1 to 2 to 3. I would say possibly half that jury is going to say he's not a good dude, but they did not prove. There is going to be doubt. There will be doubt. This is not an open and shut case. The people making the claim that they know it's done, and you see it all over the place. You see it all over YouTube with these people standing outside the court and giving their little wrap ups and their opinions and sensational videos about how it's over. The prosecution just made their case. They've proved it. No, they haven't. They've proved it from the position of, if you're stretching things and saying, here's a guy who had a guy get him some recreational drugs. RICO, drug trafficking. That's not recreational use. The prostitution, the sex trafficking, a guy having people for his personal use in hotel rooms. I guess, yes, someone could make the case that technically speaking, there's some illegal things happening here, but not in the interest of an enterprise. It's in the interest of one guy getting his freak on or freak off, right? If you were to arrest every single person, let's just take Los Angeles, that was doing drugs, recreational, had multiple women using escorts, right? You'd have half the city would be arrested, especially all the rich people. And I would even go further to say that if we were to put a lens on all these people, plenty of celebrities through the history of the entertainment industry, if we were to put the lens and focus on their sex lives and the things that they were into, I'm sure that this would look like a Disney, that Diddy's sex life would look like a Disney movie, period. If we're going to examine the sex lives and the drug use of billionaire celebrities, or even millionaire celebrities, super celebrities, people of fame, actors, musicians, whatever. If we were to do that, we'd see a hell of a lot more than just some freak offs. All right. So the prosecution has not made their case beyond a reasonable doubt. They've made a case, but not beyond a reasonable doubt. And I believe that's why the defense only needs their 1 to 2 days to say, you know what, we got this. There's no way. And this is a high-powered legal team that's being paid a lot of money, $3-4 million a month by Diddy. And if they're convinced we don't need Diddy on the stand, we don't need to do anything. It's the burden is not on us. They have laid out a case that any rational person could simply say, okay, yeah, he's guilty of a lot of things and the guy's a scumbag, but to go to jail for life as a sex trafficker, a drug trafficker, all these charges they hit him with, not going to happen. That man's going to walk. And quite frankly, I think he should. Just for the record, for those not paying attention, or for those who, for whatever silly reason, want to sort of take that out of context and suggest that I'm saying Diddy's a good guy, I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's got his days coming. Hopefully the brother can straighten himself up and get some serious help to the, as far as his abuse of people and the way he handles people. I don't know. Maybe this humbles him. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe this amount of time in jail has chilled him out. I don't know. He's got his family, his daughters, and he's got sons. Hopefully God is in his life as much as he claims, and somehow he's redeemed in some way. I do not think his career could be redeemed. I don't think anyone's going to want to touch him with a 10-foot pole. I just don't see that happening. Even if he gets off not guilty. You see what happened with OJ. I mean, a little different. OJ murdered 2 people, right? I'm not even going to say allegedly. He murdered 2 people. He murdered 2 white people at that, right? So, but even the black community, like, he never came back after that. He was vilified everywhere he went and in the press and everything. And like up to the very end, yeah, he's on Twitter trying to show himself playing golf and talk and espouse wisdom and stuff. And nobody took him serious. He was a running joke. Diddy, I feel, with his whole SEX life exposed and all of these things, and then the beating of Cassie on that tape and all, no matter what you think of Cassie, no matter what you think of anyone else, like, there's just a lot where corporations and business entities, as far as the music entertainment business, liquor brands, fashion brands, the things that he previously made a bulk of his income from, a lot of these people are not going to touch him. Can he still do music and release and produce stuff and push that stuff out through streaming and stuff? Sure. Is anyone going to listen to it? I don't know. Who's listening to? I mean, if he gets not guilty, which again we can see by the end, later this week, or we can see early next week, if he's found not guilty, the jury deliberates and it's quick, which it might be, because they just might be sick of hearing all this. They might just want to go home and do their own freak offs. They might just want to be done, right? So this could happen very, very soon. And if that's the case, Diddy goes home, throws a white party. I'm just curious. I know I started this video talking about that. Is he going to throw a party? Like, could you imagine him throwing a party? Yeah, what's up? Yeah, trying to get people to show up for that, because who's going to show up for that? Nobody's going to go near this guy. I would be convinced. You're actually going to find out who his true ride or die friends are in the celebrity world if he's found not guilty, and then like 6 months from now, he's hanging out and there's actually people around him, like any celebrity that we can guess on. Anyone who goes near him and is photographed hanging out with him, that's going to be interesting to see. Anyway, I've spoken enough. Time to talk. We'll see what happens today, if the prosecution wraps today or sometime tomorrow. And when the defense gets kicking in, we'll do a wrap up on that as well. And let me know your thoughts if you think this guy is going home or not. You think he's guilty? You think he's not guilty? What you think of him in general? Go ahead, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you on the next Time to Talk. Subscribe if you've not subscribed. Like the video on the way out. Peace.